You're watching Sports Today. I am Sushant Mehta. India have their backs against the wall in the Sydney Test and need another 309 runs tomorrow to win the match. They have 8 wickets in hand. However, the focus has now been shifted to the unruly and racist behaviour from a section of the Australian crowd who hurled racist abuses at Indian speedster Mohammed Siraj for the 3rd consecutive day. But India is not taking this lying down. Siraj complained to the on-field umpires on day 4, following which 6 offenders were thrown out of the ground. Virat Kohli has also come out to support his teammate. Kohli demanded strict and urgent action. Here's a report.
Indian fielders Siraj and Boria complained about something said. The whole group there seems like from the gestures they've been asked to leave.
Not one, not two, but for the 3rd consecutive day, the Aussie crowd continues to disgrace themselves and the game.
But they've been guilty of saying things that shouldn't have been said.
Mohammed Siraj was once again subjected to racial abuse. The crowd hurled abuses, called Siraj monkey and whatnot.
Clearly that group of boys, they've been asked to leave.
Despite Team India's complaint to the match officials and Cricket Australia's repeated warnings, the crowd at the SCG is unrepentant and relentless with its shameful behaviour. On the 4th day of the Sydney Test, after continuous chants from the stands, Siraj had to complain to the umpires and the match had to be stopped. Security officials chucked 6 offenders out. Unfortunately, no legal charges were pressed against the culprits. Those 6 people who were in an inebriated state did not stop with their language and continued with their abuses at the exit gates of the SCG. Unfortunately, Sydney Cricket Ground has witnessed these scenes many times before, with players being vilified.
There was an official complaint that we lodged yesterday, and the umpires also mentioned that we must bring it to their notice as it happens on the field, and then they'll be able to take action. And it is definitely not acceptable in this day and age where we've come through. We've seen a lot, right? We evolved as a society, and sometimes I think this roots back to the upbringing and the way one sees. So this must be definitely dealt with iron fist, and we must make sure that it doesn't happen again.
It's upsetting and it's disappointing. I mean, anyone who knows me, I've said for years, it's one of my greatest pet hates in life that people think they can come to a sporting event, whether it's cricket or any code, and pay their money and think they can abuse or say whatever they like. I mean, I've hated it as a player. I hate it as a coach. We've seen it in different parts of the world, and it's really sad to see it happen in Australia.
Andrew Simons and Harbhajan Singh.
It happens to be the same SCG where Harbhajan Singh was falsely accused of calling Andrew Simons a monkey in 2008.
I think it was,
in times when the world is fighting for equality among all humans and cricket being seen as a tool to promote it, such acts only dent the entire purpose. Worse is the failure to take appropriate action against the perpetrators. Sports Bureau, India Today.
Right, I have the greatest of all time, Sunil Gavaskar, with me, also joining us, the final word on cricket, our consulting editor, Boria Majumdar. Sunny bhai, first up, cricket is a gentleman's game, but what has happened at the SCG with Mohammed Siraj being racially abused, called a brown dog, is nothing but disgraceful.
Yes, very sad that this has happened. But sometimes what happens is, as you know, in Australia, England, South Africa, drinks are allowed. The drinks are sold at the ground. And sometimes the drink can get a little too much, particularly if you've started drinking, say, from lunchtime onwards. So when it comes towards the end of the day's play, that can hit the person who's imbibing it, and then he can behave badly. That's exactly what seems to have happened. And it's a sad thing, and it should not be tolerated. It was good to see the Australian police come and remove that particular section of the crowd. There were, I think, half a dozen people who were taken away. So that's something which is perhaps an example for the police of every country, including India. That at the moment somebody abuses a player, he should be thrown out of the ground and his name, etc., registered.
Right.
so that he is not allowed to come to the ground unless he served a period of suspension or of some sort of penalty before he can come to the ground and abuse the players.
Right. Virat Kohli, the Indian skipper, has tweeted and said, racial abuse is absolutely unacceptable, having gone through many incidents of really pathetic things said on the boundary lines. This is absolute peak of rowdy behavior. It's sad to see this happen on the field. The incident needs to be looked at with absolute urgency and seriousness, and strict action against the offenders should set things straight for once. Sunny Bhai, the perpetrators were thrown out of the ground, but is that enough? We believe legal charges were not pressed against those accused.
Well, I don't know about that, but then I think somebody has to make a complaint against them, an official complaint. I don't know what the methodology is for charges to be laid against these people. But once I think the methodology is explained, then perhaps action will be taken. It's not also correct to expect that action is taken, within hours or within minutes of that happening, because the police have to do their proper inquiries, and only after that can action be taken.
Right, Boria, we discussed this yesterday. Now, this has happened for the third consecutive day. Yesterday, an official complaint was lodged, and today, some of the offenders were even thrown out of the stadium. But once again, what does the ICC, what does Cricket Australia and cricket bodies across the world, what do we need to do to ensure that this sort of behavior does not happen on a cricket field?
First things first, Sushant. Around 1:30 p.m. when I spoke to the Indian team management and they told me brown dog is what Siraj was called, I couldn't believe myself. I mean, when we broke it on India Today, it was shocking. But what you just heard from Sunny Bhai, and a lot of people have said, they have been thrown out, a suspension, etc., is all tokenism. Enough of tokenism, because as you've heard Ashwin, from 2011, he is facing it. Sunny Bhai, when he went to Australia, he faced it. When you and I cover cricket in Australia, we also face it. So this tokenism has to stop. Now, this is what this can incur. I'm reading out 4 lines to you from one of the most senior legal counsels in Australia. Prosecution of the offence of serious vilification requires consent from the Attorney General of New South Wales and carries a maximum penalty of 10,000 fine or 6 months of imprisonment for an individual. So that can happen, provided proper charges are pressed, and they can do that. How? There are multiple cameras. There were 800 people, so they can lip sync it. Every word can be heard, and they can target and identify the group of people and exactly what was said. So there are laws in that country, in that city, in that state. So if you can prove it, you can really push this point, and 6 months of imprisonment can happen. Will it happen? We don't know. But unless and until it happens, our sport will continue to be ridden by such racial vilification, because you punish him here, he will go to Brisbane. He'll go to Melbourne, watch a game in Melbourne or Brisbane. How does it matter? And a couple of $1,000 he will pay. I mean, if he's a rich brash, that's fine. And again, 6 months later, he will do the same. So you've got to put a stop to this once and for all, because this is about human dignity and respect.
Exactly, Sunny Bhai. So the question remains, apart from just condemning this behavior, what else can the ICC and Cricket Australia do?
Well, the police are making their inquiries. So once the inquiry is complete, then I think ICC as well as Cricket Australia will look to take its next step. But at the moment, without the police inquiry being complete over yesterday's incident and even today's incident, it's a little too early to say what action that Cricket Australia or ICC will take.
Right, well, India will have to script a historic chase if they are to win the third test at Sydney. Australia have set India a mammoth 407-run target in the 4th innings. India have already lost both their openers. Still, we need 309 runs on the 5th and final day.
Oh, dropped.
The start could not have been worse for India. Second ball of the 4th day and Hanuma Vihari dropped a dolly.
And that would have helped. That's so frustrating for India.
Manas Labuschagne made the most out of it and brought up his half-century as the Steve Smith-Manas Labuschagne duo completed a century stand to extend Australia's dominance.
He really has taken to Test match cricket. He looks very much at home.
Navdeep Saini dismissed Labuschagne and Matthew Wade in quick succession with the scoreboard reading 148 for 4.
Is and gone. So it's 2 now for Saini.
Post-lunch, Smith and Cameron Green took the attack to India as the Australian lead crossed the 300-run mark.
It's just an indication as to exactly how they're going to play out the session.
Ravi Ashwin dismissed Smith for the third time in the series for a well-compiled 81.
The impact is in line and the wickets is hitting.
Wow. Well, it's exactly what India needed.
Opening.
India's misery in the field continued as Rohit Sharma dropped a regulation chance in the slip cordon.
You've got to start feeling for Bumrah.
Jasprit Bumrah, the unlucky bowler once again, and Tim Paine, the beneficiary.
Oh, you've got to start feeling for Bumrah.
Cameron Green completed his maiden 50 and hammered the Indian bowlers as Australia declared with the dismissal of the all-rounder for 84, setting India a mammoth 407-run target.
And given.
In reply, Rohit Sharma and Shubman Gill started cautiously. The duo brought up their second consecutive 50-run stand and negated the new ball threat.
Breaks the sequence with a glorious boundary through the covers.
Josh Hazlewood provided Australia the much-needed breakthrough as Shubman Gill was caught behind after scoring 31, ending a 71-run opening stand.
That's something that is second nature. And if that goes for 4, it does. That's got to be a 50 for Rohit Sharma.
Rohit Sharma looked solid and soon brought up his half-century. A pull shot, one of the biggest strengths of Rohit Sharma, became his undoing as he fell into the Aussie trap.
And again, that shot from
Pat Cummins getting the wicket closer to the stumps.
finds the fielder.
India finished at 98 for 2 with Ajinkya Rahane and Chiteshwar Pujara at the crease. India now have a mountain of 309 runs to climb on the final day.
As we will head into day 5 tomorrow.
Sports Bureau, India Today.
It's been an interesting day's play.
Right, Sunny Bhai, it's one thing to think about a draw, another to actually make that happen. What is it going to be tomorrow?
Well, frankly, that's going to be very difficult. It'll need some help from the rain gods. If they come in and take away a chunk of playing time tomorrow, then India has a chance of saving the game. But with Rishabh Pant, we don't know whether he's going to bat, but Ravindra Jadeja will probably not bat. India are already 3 wickets down. And what we have seen in the first 2 test matches so far in the first innings of this 3rd test match, the middle order looks a little bit shaky. So under those circumstances, to expect India to save the game if the full day's play takes place is perhaps asking for a lot. But if Ajinkya Rahane and Cheteshwar Pujara bat well in the first session, then India will have a glimmer of a chance of trying to save the game. So clearly, the onus is on these 2 very experienced, very senior batsmen to take India home tomorrow.
Right. Boria, another solid start for India, but just a heartbreak to lose Rohit Sharma just 4 overs before the day was about to end. I mean, he just fell into that trap. That trap was laid for him. He was playing so well. This is a classic pitch for Rohit Sharma. He can score at will.
And that's one of his favorite shots. I mean, it just hit it too good to Mitch Stark of Pat Cummins, but that's what sport is. I mean, he was playing brilliantly. Imagine 14-day hard quarantine, no tour game, and then someone comes and does this. That tells you mental strength, resilience, and class. So Rohit Sharma, super. But tomorrow it's not about Rohit anymore. It's about Ajju and Cheteshwar and Hanuma Vihari. You know, the stage is set for greatness. And as Sunny Bhai said, yes, it's 80-20 Australia, but the stage is set for greatness. Pujara, now do a Pujara. Do a Pujara. No one will question intent. Go bat 250 balls tomorrow. Save that game for us. That's what you are capable of. Go do it. I have spoken. I mean, I was speaking to a couple of guys. The team has rallied because of this racial issue. Rishabh will bat. And if there is a glimmer of a hope, Ravi Jadeja, who's out for 4 to 6 weeks with an injection, will also bat. Let me tell you that. So the team is focused. Now let's see what transpires. Herculean task, but that's sport. Miracles happen.
Right. Sunny Bhai, now we want to see that Pujara innings. I know he's been criticized for playing, I don't know, a little bit too slow, but he has to play exactly the kind of innings that he's capable of.
Yes, this particular situation is absolutely tailor-made for Cheteshwar Pujara, where he can dig his heels in and bat for as long as he wants, because that's exactly what India wants. That he stays there right till the end and saves the game for India.
I'm going to come back to Rohit Sharma and Shubman Gill for just a moment, Sunny Bhai. How do you rate this opening combination? Because I am just in love with both of them. Technically sound, Shubman Gill, good head on his shoulders, plus Rohit Sharma.
You can say that because Mayank was unfortunately not in very good form, but he's somebody who had an outstanding season last year. In 2019, there was no cricket in 2020, but he had an outstanding 2019. So he's somebody that you want to keep in mind all the time. And if young Prithvi Shaw can sort out some of the technical difficulties that have come to the notice of others, particularly the opposition in New Zealand as well as over here, then he can also make a comeback to the team. But for the moment, with the way both these batsmen have got the partnership going, they seem to be very comfortable with each other. There is not any sort of yes-no situation when running between the wickets. So yes, I think for the time being, this partnership looks set for India for some time at least. Right,
Boria. Now, we spoke about how Pat Cummins might be one of the best bowlers in the world right now, but my heart goes out to Bumrah. He deserved 5 wickets almost in this innings. He bowled so well, but the Indian fielders just let him down. Our fielding standards have been miserable.
In the second test, you caught everything you won. In the first test, you dropped, you lost. That's what happens. Again, think of the second ball. It was a dolly. Hanuma Vihari standing there, goes straight to hand, just bend, finish. Did you see Bumrah's reaction? That would tell you everything. Tim Payne drop, Cameron Green drop, Manas Labuschagne drop. You don't do that in international cricket and then decide, because it's contagious. You know what happens? One catch drop, the other gets anxious.
Yes.
That anxiety spreads. It becomes a contagious thing. You become very, very apprehensive. What will happen? So you've got to sort this out ahead of the 4th test in Brisbane. You know what happened in Melbourne. You caught everything. Australia dropped, Australia lost. So that's what in front of us. And yes, heart goes out to Bumrah. But now all that is past. Doesn't matter. All that matters is go bat 90 overs tomorrow and save the game. That will be a telling statement, because this Indian team, racial abuse, vilification, media going after them, protocol breach and all of that, all of a sudden the stage is set for the batsman. Go Ajinkya, go Cheteshwar, do something miraculous.
Sunny Bhai, same question before I move on from this topic, but it has to be said the fielding has been terrible. Hanuma Vihari dropping catches, Rohit Sharma dropped catches, straightforward chances. What exactly is the issue?
Well, look, catches will be dropped in cricket. Some of the best fielders can drop these catches. So these things happen. So I'm not really worried so much about the catches being dropped. What is of concern is that apart from Jadeja and apart from, say, Shubman Gill, there aren't any quick movers in the outfield in this particular 11. You have a look around. Yeah, Rohit Sharma in the 30-yard circle is pretty good. But apart from that, there is nobody who moves quickly. And that is an area of concern, because we saw the Australian batsmen tapping the ball and taking singles where the guys in the covers or guys at mid-off were on their heels, not expecting a single to be taken.
Enough.
And so the strike kept on getting rotated by the Australians, never allowing India's bowlers to have a crack of 6 consecutive deliveries at any pattern. So yes, that is more the area of concern than the catches being dropped.
Boria, we spoke about this. Now, you said that there's no chance we are winning this match. Maybe a miracle, I don't know, but draw, now you're saying we have a 20% chance. Australia clear favourites. What do we need to do in order to at least draw this test match?
Bat out the first session and the second new ball. Simple. If you bat out the first session, you are getting close to the second new ball, because I'm saying 27, 28 overs, now increased first session, so 30 odd overs. That will mean Australia is about 10 overs odd away from
Hold on to that thought. Do we have the firepower to do that? Because I know, Ajinkya Rahane got a century in the series early on. Cheteshwar Pujara, yes, he can bat for a long time and he can block the hell out of the ball. But still, do we have the firepower? Pant injured. Yes, you were saying he will bat. Ravindra Jadeja, no, he's not available. Hanuma Vihari, he has not looked good in this series. Simple as that. So do we have the firepower to actually bat out the 5th day?
Stephen Smith did not look good in the series. What did he do in the 2 innings? I mean, as I keep telling you, think of the 2001 series against Australia. None of our batsmen looked good till VVS Lakshman got that 281. And then what happened? Everybody starts getting runs. Hanuma Vihari dropped catches. You know, this is his platform. Go prove. Who batted at number 5 for India? A certain sort of Ganguly, a certain VVS Lakshman. So there's pedigree there. If Hanuma Vihari has to bat ahead of KL Rahul in the England series, this is his opportunity. Go do it. Go bat 150 odd balls. And you know, India has done that. Think South Africa. Your own Ravi Shastri will tell you in the dressing room that he batted for, 140 odd balls, scored 23 against Brett Schultz and that South African attack, Praveen Amre, Sanjay Manjrekar. So it's not as if India has not done that. Gautam Gambhir in New Zealand in 2009, 137 not out. So people have done that. You need to believe you can do that. Ajinkya Rahane, Cheteshwar Pujara bat 150 balls each. The moment you're talking about that, you're talking 50 odd overs. So you mean to say the rest of the batsmen cannot bat 35, 40 overs on a good batting deck? And nothing's happening on that wicket except keeping low. So there's no real spin also. So why not? You've got to believe that you will save the game. Otherwise, it's over.
Yes. The first session, as Boria said, will be crucial for India. Rahane and Pujara have to bat for a long time. And then Hanuma Vihari, I don't know if he can raise his game to Stephen Smith standards, but still, I think we have to back him to do well. I thank both my guests, the legend Sunil Gavaskar and our consulting editor Boria Majumdar. Time for a short break now. When we come back, an update on the man with the golden touch, Ravindra Jadeja.
Hello everyone, this is Rahul Kamal here. Hope you enjoyed this video. For the latest news and analysis, like and subscribe the India Today YouTube channel and don't forget to press the bell icon to stay updated.